Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. O Allah, open up the door of wisdom on us, make our work easy, and remove the utterance of my tongue so that people should understand. Today I'm going to share with you something very interesting story, and that was a real story. It happened in 1957. That was the year 1957 when the government of Thailand was extending some of the highway in Bangkok. So once they have make a plan, so they have to take that highway to some of the areas. And one of that area when they have been planning for that, so there was a shrine, there was a temple of Buddha which was coming on the way. And that was a centuries old Buddha which was been there. So once they have gone over there, they asked the monks that because we have to take our highway through this route, so we have to take that temple away from it and we are going to place it somewhere else. Now the big challenge with that temple was that there was having a very big size Buddha statue was being there. And it was having a tradition of centuries in which people are being there and they are being offering their worships, rituals, etc. So anyway, there was no choice. So what they did, one government then brought some of the cranes over there. It was such a huge statue that they literally have to put it up with the cranes, multiple cranes, and they have to put it onto the truck. Now the problem happened that once they have put that huge giant size statue of the Buddha onto the truck, and because of some of the vibration, because of that movement, there were certain cracks which started appearing onto that statue of the Buddha. Now that was very painful, especially for the worshippers. And one of the worshippers who was been there for decades, and he was been there, he was having so much emotionally connected with that statue that on that night when they have put it onto the truck and truck was about to leave, he just gone over there, he took his torch, he tried to see what cracks has been developed over there. And to his surprise, when he was been searching for those cracks where it had happened, he got a very strong reflection back of the light. So that glitter, something has reflected back to him very strongly. And he was initially frightened. He thought, what has been happening with that statue? Because might be it's been a sign of some sort of annoyance or something, that because we have been uprooted that Buddha statue, something is happening. But he was been there, and to his surprise, he found that wherever the cracks have been there, that very strong reflection of light is coming out of it. So out of fear, out of some sort of confusion, he took the chisel. He tried to see what exactly precisely is being there under that clay. So once he been started chiseling away that pieces of mud or pieces of that clay out of it, and to his surprise, he found that the more he chiseled away, the brighter the light has been reflecting back to him. Now, in that instance, he called the other monks around, and these monks had been there, and they were literally no idea what is being there inside. So what they thought, they bring all of their people there, and they started to chisel down all of the mud, all of the clay outside of this statue. And what they got at the end, they were literally shocked, and they found that it was a statue made up of pure gold. A huge giant size of Buddha. When they have removed that clay out of it, it was being the golden Buddha. And when they came to know, they have got the history that almost 200 years back, there was used to be such a big giant size golden Buddha which has been lost somewhere. And then they dig into that history of that. So that was because of the reason that almost 200 years back, in 1843, there was a war which was been happening between the Burma and the Thailand. And because the Burmese army, when they have invaded the Thailand, so it was on the border, and that temple was been there on the border. And because they know that once this army is going to invade, they are going to stolen all of these golden Buddha from us. So what happened in 1800, that those monks who had been doing their worships, etc., they thought that what we have to do, we have to cover that golden Buddha with the mud, with the clay, so that when the army came, nobody is going to take any note of it, because they cannot realize that this golden Buddha is actually being hidden underneath that clay. So my dear friend, that was a very interesting story happened. That was that they put all the clay onto that golden Buddha, and once that fight was being happen, actually all of these monks which were being the part of that process which has covered it into the golden Buddha underneath the clay, they are all killed during that war. And when the army came for the search of that golden Buddha, they are not been able to discover anything out of it. So that statue remained there for centuries. And that discovery, when it happened, and when the government realized that this is the one which they have been looking for, and the golden Buddha being re-emerged after almost 200 years. Now, if you look into that story, what is the interesting lesson we can get out of it? What is the interesting lesson? And I would say that like the way this golden Buddha has been emerged when they have removed that clay and when they have removed the dust out of themselves, then they got the real discovery of that golden Buddha out of ourselves. This is a metaphor of many of us in this life, my dear friends. We have such a gold inside. We have such an untapped reservoir of energy, potential, capacity, and capabilities which are being hidden ourselves. But what happened? Because of the environment, because of surrounding, because of certain conditioning, we got clay on ourselves. And the problem what started happening, then we started realizing that my title, my paycheck, my condition, that defined me. Actually, it is not. We are not being defined by our paycheck. We are not being defined by our title. We are not being defined by our ethnicity. We are not being defined by the color of our skin. We are being defined by the attitude, by the image which we carry for ourselves. Who we are the creation of a super creator. And that super creator does not create scrap. And people say that this life which has been given to us is being given to us as a gift from our creator. Now the way we live our life, the way we are going to live our life is a gift back to our creator.